Okay, here we are in Java. We're going to look at variables today, how to initialize them or declare them, and then initialize them if need be, and kind of see what they look like. Okay, so I've created a class in my Hello World folder at some point. I hope you do that just to start it off, or you can use some old class shell to do your work, and it really doesn't matter at this point, but if you want to have like a collection of files to keep your work, create a new class. So when we're talking about variables, there's different types of variables in Java, and we can use a variety of them for depending on what it is we need them for. We're not going to go through all of them right away. We're going to start with probably the most basic one, which is known as the int, okay, or the integer. Okay, so I'm going to create just a comment here. Int, known as the integer variable. So how do we create a variable? Well, step number one, we have to state the data type. Okay, in this case, it's going to be an int. And we're going to do that over here. So int. Number two, we have to name the variable. This is another word for declaring the variable. Okay, so how do we name a variable? Well, we can always choose the letter X or Y, but in coding, we want our variables to be descriptive. In other words, we want them to describe the, what it is they're going to contain. So I'm going to call this one my first integer. Okay. And 3, we can choose to initialize the variable. So what does initialize mean? Well, it means we can assign it a value, just like in the recycling and the bins question. Okay, we can either just name the variable or put something in the bin as well. So in this case, if I want to put a number in the my first integer variable, I can say I'll put the number 5, and I end that sentence with a semicolon. So I have my first integer. I've named it that, and I've assigned it the value of 5. Let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to go sys out. This is a shortcut. You can go sys out control space, and it'll fill in the rest for you. And I'm going to take that, my first integer, just copy and paste it, and let's see what happens when I run this program. I get the number 5. In other words, Java has looked at the contents of what's in my first integer and printed it out to the screen here. So we can do other stuff with variables, with integers. Let's just work with that. Namely, use some operations on them. So we can call this operations with, or let's say operations on ints, on integers. And there are the regular operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, which is the star, and division. Close my commenting, so I'll just say division. Which is forward slash. Okay, so what does that stuff look like? Well, let's create a statement with kind of all of these operations in them. So I'm going to just copy this, save myself some time, and I'm going to create, actually no, you know what, I'm not going to copy this one here. I'm going to copy this. Not my first integer, but I'll call it my first number. Okay, so I'm going to make this number, let's start off with 10 plus 8. And I'm going to print that out. I'm just going to copy this. And see what happens. So I'm going to have the 5, and then I should have the result of 10 plus 8, which is 18 on the next line, and I have that. Okay. Again, everything here is not being read by the computer because it is considered a comment, and this is going to be my 18. Okay, well, let's continue. Let's add some more operations in here. What if I did 10 plus 8 and then divided by 2? Well, that should give me 9. Let's see if it's true. Yep, that's what I have down here. I have the number 9. Let's continue. Let's maybe subtract the value of 8 and see what we get. I should get 1. Yep, I do. And you know what? Let's do all of this. Again, we have to follow our order of operations. And I'm going to subtract 7. So I should end up with -6. Let's see. Yes, that works. Okay. So you have these basic operations of addition, subtraction, division, and there's multiplication. Maybe I should add that in. You know what? Let's do 10 times 2 plus 8. So that'll be 28 divided by 2, which is 14, minus 8, which should be 6, minus 7 should be -1. Do we get that? Yes, we do. There's all your operations in one line. I want you to keep in mind this equal sign is not the same as, like, 3 plus 4 equals 7. Okay, what it's doing is assigning a value, in this case -1, which is all on the right hand side, to the variable my first number. Okay, so it's not like it's doing the math here, and then whatever the result of that mathematical equation is, it's saying, okay, that result is going to be stored in my first number. So think of the bin, again, the recycling bin, that has the variable my first number, and it's putting inside that bin the value -1. Okay, whereas this equal here is more of like the result of an operation. It's a very subtle difference, and you won't really appreciate it until you start doing some coding, okay? But I just want to point it out at this juncture. Okay, so we have all that. We have declaration and the initialization, cool, and some operations. So I'll let you play with some of these in Java.